Traveler and Paimon. Good to see you. I knew you two would come.
Are you kidding? We wouldn't miss it for the world. We've been looking forward to it.
I can tell, judging by how early you've arrived. But you're actually right on time. The audience still hasn't started entering the venue yet, which means now is the perfect chance for us to take you to the best seats in the house. Wait just a moment. I'll fetch the tickets. The Opera House has assigned seating, so you always have to make reservations. I've already reserved your seats, and here are your tickets.
Ooh, front row seats! Thanks, Linny!
Don't mention it. There's no need to keep thanking me.
Hey, Linny! Could you come over here and take a look at this?
Oh, I'll be right there. Seems there's an issue with the stage props over there. That's Cal, my assistant, calling me.
Yeah, we'll just go to our seats. You go ahead, Linny. Oh, these should be our seats. Come on, let's sit down. Uh... Hey, Traveler. Maybe we should strike up a conversation with the... Oh, you little... Of course you put this on Paimon.
Excuse me, I did not realize you felt awkward. I am terribly sorry. I would be perfectly happy to chat with you if that is what you would like.
Oh, so you heard all of that, did ya? Boy, you sure have good ears. Paimon thought she was keeping her voice down. Wait, that's not it. Paimon's... Sorry. Paimon's the one who was being rude, talking under her breath like that. Oh, Paimon's got it. You're also here early and sitting in the front. Are you a friend of Linny's too?
A friend, you say? Well, if Mr. Linny would like to be my friend, I would be more than happy to reciprocate.
Oh, so you're not friends with Linny then? Oh, this is getting more awkward by the second. Paimon nearly forgot to make her introduction. Nice to meet you. Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler. We just arrived in Vaudain.
It is an honor to meet you two. I have heard of your deeds across Tevat. And as required by proper etiquette, I will also introduce myself. I am...
Oh, Monsieur Nervillet. What an honor it is to have you here to see my show.
Ah, Mr. Linny. I should say it is in fact an honor for me to see your performance in person.
Wait, Nervillet? Could he be...
I saw you all chatting just now, but it seems you still don't know who Monsieur Neuvillette is. Allow me to introduce you to Fontaine's Chief Justice. That seat is always reserved for him. It wouldn't be too much to say that he's the symbol of justice and honesty here in Fontaine.
Ooh, sorry for being so rude just now. Paimon had no idea you were such an important person.
No offense taken. Being Chief Justice is merely what I do for work. Nearly every person has their usual reserved seat, so I'm not so special, really. And by the way, I should probably let you know, even though I would prefer not to. There's someone sitting up there in the VIP seats that has been striking a pose for quite a while now. I believe she is trying to give you a most elegant and impressive first impression. So I think you should take notice of her sooner rather than later. Otherwise, she may become flustered.
Huh? Oh, it's Farina, the Hydro Archon. Huh. She sure has a smug and satisfied look on her face. Guess she has no idea that you saw right through her act.
Very good. That is for the best. No need to pay her any more attention. We may now enjoy the show.
Huh? So is this what things are like between the Chief Justice and the Hydro Archon?
All right, please wait just a moment longer. I've pretty much finished my preparations, and the performance will start as soon as the audience has made their way to their seats.
Yay! The show's finally about to start! Paimon can hardly wait! Paimon's never seen a real live man. Ooh! They're dimming the lights! The show must be starting! Sorry. Paimon will try to stay quiet.
Welcome, one and all, to the Opera Epiclese. I am the star of today's show, Linny. And over here is my sister, Lynette, who will be working as my wonderful assistant. Please, let's give her a warm welcome.
Hello, everyone.
I know she may seem to be a little sleepy right now, but that's just a sign that she's nervous.
Whatever.
Now, some of you may be thinking, two vision holders who can freely manipulate elemental powers performing magic is not so. I would like to take a moment to assure you that elemental powers will have nothing to do with what you will witness on the stage today. Both Lynette and myself have removed our visions for the show.
Oh, good point. That's what makes the show real magic.
Now, without further ado, let the show begin. Lynette will now exit the stage to make some preparations. I know you might miss her, but don't worry. She'll be coming right back on stage momentarily. Perhaps in an unexpected way. I'm sure she'll be stealing the spotlight soon enough. Oh, and before I forget, there's one more thing I should say. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. A magician's greatest skill is making things disappear or appear. The possibilities are endless. Huh? But this isn't what you came for. These little tricks, you've seen them all before. So it's time for something truly extraordinary, don't you think? This one's a little tricky. Using this water tank, I shall make my sister vanish completely, right before your very eyes. It's actually quite simple. She'll just turn into air bubbles and float right out of the top. Oh no! I told them to check all the props carefully. With the lid on, even air can't escape. An amateur magician would be getting very nervous right around now. Luckily, it's me on stage, so let me show you what a true virtuoso can do. Lynette, are you still there? Don't go too far. We don't want to use up all our magic.
Hi, I'm back.
Uh-huh.
Whoa! What in the world just happened? How did he do that? Wasn't Lynette inside the water tank? How did she disappear and then reappear out of...
If we could see easily through his tricks, then that would mean that his skills are still lacking. To appreciate magic, you should focus on the show happening on stage, rather than getting caught up in trying to see that which has been intentionally hidden.
Guess you're right. Paimon couldn't believe her eyes when Lynette reappeared.
Thank you everyone. I'm glad you enjoyed that performance. But our magical journey has only just begun. I've prepared even more astonishing surprises for everyone here. The magic of transformation and disappearance can go far beyond what you've just seen. I'm sure many of you are thinking that escaping the water tank was impressive enough. But in which case, I have So, for my next trick, I will require the... Please, if my assist... There are 2 boxes, and only 2 boxes. One is here, and one is there in the aisle among the audience. I'm sure many of our our lucky audience member... Now please...
Wow! How's he gonna... Hey, do you think this is all magic tricks? Or does Lenny have actual...
The lucky audience member will be generated by this random number. It selects numbers entirely at random. Even I don't know who will be chosen to participate. Now then, let's begin. Let me see... Oh, please, come forward. My assistant will take you beside the... I'm sorry, it might be a little cramped inside, but no need to feel nervous. You don't need to do anything, but no matter if the magic is interrupted, who knows where you might end up. You might even find yourself in the fortress...
Oh.
All right. Like this. 60, 59, 58. I won't be able to see anything in the pitch black box, so I'll be relying on your Oh, and no tricks now. If you quickly can...
Ooh! Paimon kinda wants to count faster after hearing...
No, that won't do. I can see... Come on, repeat after me. 60, 59, 58.
60, 59, 58!
That's right, perfect. Keep it going. All right, I'll see you all on the other side once you've finished...
54, 53, 50... Why aren't you counting, Nervalet?
I am counting in my head. I think things are exciting enough in here as it is. Merely a consequence of my identity and personality. Do not worry about me. Just enjoy the show.
Oh, all right. You look so serious that Paimon thought you might be feeling uncomfortable or something. 40, 39, 38!
Mr. Lenny, are you all right in there? Is everything ready?
Yes, I'm fine. It would be a disaster.
Even though he's saying that, Lenny doesn't seem nervous at all. What was that noise? Did you hear it too? Not sure. Anyway, it doesn't seem like anyone's worried about it.
25! What's wrong, Mr. Linney?
I seem to have accidentally...
Never mind the decorations.
No, that's unacceptable.
19! 18! 17!
It seems things aren't quite going as... It feels like you're all starting to count faster, but that's all right. I know it can be 10 seconds and change is still plenty of time.
10!
Almost there now. Whew. Swapping two people is harder work than you might think. Even a master magician like me can't guarantee I'll get it right the first time. Hey, wait! Is this the back one? I can't tell. They both look the same inside. Huh? No, that's not it. I'll try again.
7!
Hey, slow down! Honestly!
5! 4! 3!
Whoops! That doesn't count!
0!
Ta-da!
What happened? Is this part of the show? Mr. Linney, you're going to use
What happened?
Oh no. Maybe this isn't part of the show. The girl was still in that box, right?
This performance is over. Medical staff with me. Guards, secure the...
Yes!
No need to be alarmed, you two. We'll get to the bottom. Unfortunately, the person who is in the magic box has been pronounced dead. His name was Cowell, one of the assistants in Linney's magic troupe. Apparently, the fireworks on stage ignited the ropes that were suspending the... As of now, we are still not sure why we found... And after an initial search of the area, the guards have confirmed that the girl is nowhere to be found. It appears that this incident was not merely some and there are many indications that it is connected with the case.
That's the case that Charlotte mentioned before.
I know the truth. I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Linney, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearances case.
Huh? Why me? This whole thing was an accident.
Oh, this all occurred during your magic show, did it not? The missing girl disappeared after being chosen, did she not? Now that I think of
That can't be right. He was in the box on the stage the entire time. We can even hear his voice. Besides, before the show, he told us that he would like to catch the criminal behind the disappearances. He could...
Save discussion for a later time, please. Lady Farina, may I assume that your comments just now constitute an accusation against...
I just...
But what Lady for...
A kidnapping and murder character.
That's right. I mean you, traveler. You'll support Linney. Then there's no problem at all. You know, the traveler and I already had a duel the first time we met. But with Linney's help, our little duel ended in a draw. But draws really are the So, no more draws. Between the two of us, there must be a clear winner and loser.
It wasn't a draw. She
I understand. Charges have now been pressed, and as such, a trial is in order. Well, traveler, seems Lady Farina has set you in her sights. But are you willing to act as Mr. Linney's attorney? Very well. The trial will be held a day from now in the Opera House. Both sides may... Linny and his troop are all potent. The audience may begin to leave in an orderly fashion once they have been cleared by the guards.
A day isn't that long. Let's see what kind of case this big shot out...
Lenny!
Sorry about everything that happened just now. Were you frightened?
Of course! Who wouldn't be scared after witnessing an accident like that?
Yeah, I'm a little shaken up myself. How could this happen? And poor Cal. I know you already claimed that you would defend me, but now it's just us talking. Tell me, do you think I could possibly be the murderer? Good to hear. Thank you so much for I'm sure everyone sees me as the biggest suspect at this point. But, if you ask me, the whole thing is mysteries layered upon I don't know whether what happened there on the stage was purely an accident. As for how that girl chosen from the audience could suddenly disappear, I'm afraid I don't have any answers either. If someone tampered with my performance, then we need to figure out what they did. Even a skilled and knowledgeable magician like myself couldn't pull all that off in just 1 minute.
Which is precisely why we need to investigate. As this book says, the impossible could not have happened. Whatever happened must have been that which is possible. Paimon bought them when we were reading at the bookshop in the city earlier. Pretty cool, huh? Don't worry, Paimon used her own savings to buy them. It wasn't from our travel funds.
I think they look cute on you, Paimon.
You have good taste, Lynette.
That's the right attitude. Feeling depressed isn't going to help me now. I need to get back to my normal self. But with the guards watching our every move, it's going to be especially difficult for Lynette. Good thing you agreed to be our attorneys.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, just leave it to us. Oh, since we're going to start investigating, Paimon has a question first. Where did Lynette go during the performance?
Ah, well, I'm afraid that would involve some of our essential...
The secrets behind our magic are past saving, Linny.
I suppose you're right. The truth be... 'tis truly a pity. As a magician, our magic show is a work of art. We've poured countless hours and spared no effort in perfecting it. But if revealing our secrets will help you uncover the truth, we should go somewhere else if we're going to discuss our magic trick.
All right, let's go have a look while the investigation teams are still here. Hello, officer. How's the investigation going?
Ah, I see. You must be the traveler that Lady Farina mentioned. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'd avoid getting mixed up in this whirlpool of a mess if I were you.
Huh?
Come with me and you'll see. The deceased is one of Linny's assistants, named Cal. Even though he hadn't joined the troupe long, he was hardworking and everyone generally liked him. The assistants are usually in charge of setting up and inspecting the props, as well as... As you probably saw when you were in the audience, the water tank suddenly fell and smashed the box with Cowl inside it. This is the real mystery. We've already searched the scene and were unable to find any traces of the girl. However, if you look carefully, the box was positioned directly under the water tank. All these factors lining up so perfectly makes it hard. If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned.
But he doesn't have a motive.
Are you both good friends of his?
Well, you can't...
So in just a short time, he was not... I know there's no such thing. I've seen a lot of cases. And I can tell you that people are the least... Sorry, I tend to be pretty straightforward. Just know that I'm warning you for your own good. Anyway, you may investigate the scene of the crime yourselves if you're curious. Who knows, maybe you'll be able to come up with some new evidence.
Caustix, you have weird emojis.
This location has also been cordoned off because the Magic Troop members are currently considered prime. The seats were all booked in advance, so we were able to deduce. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway when we petition the public to help us find the missing person. Her name is Halsey. She's a Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come see the magic show. The Magic Troop members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts of interest with the suspects. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troop at all, which matches...
Were the victims of previous cases also chosen at random?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around this...
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, it is of utmost importance that we...
So this is the rope. The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa. Look! This bit is made from different material. Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes.
I see that you're investigating the area. Well, it just so happens that I'm interested too. If you find any new and...
We don't have too many thoughts yet. The thud? Oh, you mean...
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud, but it's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lenny's trick with bated breath.
That makes sense.
I'm of the opinion that it may have been And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing down.
But wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right. Oh, that's true.
That does remind...
The investigation team has some new
See, I told you. What?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lenny and Lynette with their side of the investigation. What were
You're trying to help them?
Lenny used the machine. Well, we thought.
It turns out that the seat number... I'm sure you already know that. In other words...
That much checks out.
Let you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lenny.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here!
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? And by the looks of it,
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle?
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. That's right. I've always kept an eye. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too, but how did you come to that?
Intuition, naturally. Farina sure was quick to point the... But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina would...
Sounds more like you just don't trust the
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she... All right, I've answered your question.
Wait a minute, did that...
Well, I say it. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Well...
And why would that be? See, Silver and Melus? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I, too, think that the Traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Melus. Anyway, now, I need to make some preparations, following which I'll...
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure. Or your...
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be You wish to save a friend from false accusations.
You have a point. And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you...
I have nothing to add.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Linny's tricks. Thanks!
Sorry, but...
No! Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes! After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone... So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity.
How can you be so sure?
Well, because I was in charge. I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post. And I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had... We Melazines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here. Alright, thank you for your help. This'll be useful info. We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we?
Understood. Then I will be...
Very good. Thank
you. May spare the pleasant...
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the firepower. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and we'll be helping investigate this whole... And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of but before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic, remembering the details of a trick.
Huh.
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from
The back? You mean the
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head to...
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the... See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that...
I see. So that...
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be...
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out...
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already...
And what about Lynette?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh,
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick.
So that's how it all worked!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping, and then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an... And yet, to think that someone was able... Could we have a look around? I think we can come up...
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort...
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't...
Thanks, everyone. We're...
Oh, her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to...
Right! And do you really need to do that? If your kid... Ugh, this is so confusing.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which, why would there be water here?
Oh! Paimon knows! And here's a broken vase!
That can't be.
Let's...
What's this?
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh? There's a...
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But...
Whatever it is...
It seems someone could fit through here.
Huh. Could this have been the suspect's escape route?
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space would be too narrow.
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right! Let Paimon write that down. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes. Let's head back up. Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime. Let's find a place to sort out our...
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know...
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Linny and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear statements from both... That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the Oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the Oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the Oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? Paimon thought...
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some...
Breaking out, so just kidding. Paimon will still do her best, even...
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy...
Huh?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come.
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I'm just questioning
I have
where he
eggs,
stored
sugar,
it.
and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my...
These three are quite the interesting group. that it smelled good while it was still in the oven. Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't... From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself. Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything.
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a try, fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind. No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
All right then. Down to business. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person. But the only people left to consider are both technically victims, whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowell.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowell before making her escape?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The guards said that she has never had any dealings with the magic troop's members.
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp and super sweet!
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest!
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Lelouch, set up the stove again if you would.
Huh? What are you doing?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, Demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Well, this...
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but But we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the two of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
All right, thanks for your help and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
All right, it's time to put our heads together. The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No, we're...
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have...
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were in...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might...
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there...
Huh?
Hey, hang on!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night.
Hey, Linny, what did...
Order! Order! First, when the thud was heard in the opera, are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Lin.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after... In that case, my
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Travel.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted, we based our entire reasoning not to set the wrong tone or anything.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times, but our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many...
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it... During our investigations, from that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this...
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about... So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the...
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel, specifically to exit...
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay,
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a. Huh? Oh,
Both parties have returned to their positions. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue.
That took long enough. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the Finally, he used the vase to knock her out. At this time, so Linny proceeded to knock him afterward. Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the... Seems this... According to Linny, Linny went to the room. Linny did not.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground... Once he reached that area, he heard a voice. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent! Paimon did it!
In other words, you believe that he knew...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl.
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And, well, Your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claim? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box... You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lenny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you...
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lenny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious?
Oh, is that...
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. No one entered or left the opera house through... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lenny as well. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both people to fit. The deceased's name is Cowell. It would have been tough for both people to fit. No one entered or left the opera house through... Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people to fit.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the...
If only we knew how...
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between... The deceased's name is Cowl, Linny... The vase was not broken by...
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped! Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here. Must we really? Magic tricks are ultimate.
Even so, I trust that the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may... Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine...
We are still examining the items, but we discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's bag. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into what?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but...
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your part?
Let's go. Just try...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues... Guards, please continue examining the eye. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated...
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't... Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from...
The water from the primordial sea should already Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage. The water from the primordial sea... The deceased's name is Cowell, I remember there was something... Lynette was in the magic box on...
The rope that strung the water tank up was lit. I remember there was some... The water from the primordial sea...
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same...
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person?
Now, it seems like the only point of his notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the city.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this Linny did not need to take part, having made modifications, but upon his return, ultimately, he knocked Cowl. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, am I right, Miss?
We've used up all the evidence. Is this the end of the...
Oh no! Paimon seems using the water as new evidence.
I think we've all seen enough. I believe this is indeed the... Now then, my good.
Excuse me,
Miss, I must ask you not...
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who... What in the world is she...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous... Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. But, as the magic makers and stars of the show,
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she caught...
That'll teach you to...
Where should I begin?
What?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian. And I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey! No wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. So I played along with the show. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so there was nowhere to run. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell... The strange sound... The flower vase was not... Lillian...
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. He tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase with no way of escaping. She changed her clothes. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So...
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thing.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have...
So that's the...
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to... Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the...
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some...
Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall... The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, with some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing... He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been therefore you would be
Yes! Our boss discovered that the water can cause people. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent morale.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true.
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire— As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you— Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left to survive. I took to surreptitiously observing— I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to— To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular. And we could— Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how— After one particular performance at a banquet, I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care. and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the... I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that... All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement. The knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. I was hesitant to trust her. I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the...
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it.
So, she believes in that
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water. Thus, everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets, to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis...
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too? Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow.
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know,
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to anyway. It would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm if
Oh, wonderful! In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine?
All right then, let's have our farewell.
Oh well, this is the end for me today. Hope you had fun watching. See you when I do. I'm pretty tired.